Donald Trump's immigration agenda is easily the most immoral and illegal aspect of his presidency, but somehow he has found a way to make it worse because he's doubling down on what MAGA only ever cares about, which is owning the libs by welcoming in white South Afrikaners, and doing so by telling one specific lie, which he and Kristi Noem just got caught in, and they are losing their minds because of it. And we are going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we see the lie that Kristi Noem got caught in, we first have to see that lie that her and Trump are presenting. And it starts with these two clips right here.
You probably will not be deporting these white South African farmers, will you?
No, Jesse, what President Trump is doing is adding integrity back into our immigration programs and our refugee programs, making sure that individuals that get the chance to come to America, be a part of opportunity and freedom and liberty, are actually people who are being persecuted by their government at home, that are having acts of violence perpetuated by them. These South African families had their land taken from them. The South African government was committing and perpetuating and facilitating acts of violence against them and their families, and they have found a place in the United States of America where they can sleep peacefully at night. And this is exactly what President Trump said he would do during the campaign and committed to the American people, is that he would put integrity back into this country. He would follow the rule of law and make sure that he followed the refugee program just like Congress dictated it should operate.
Well, some of these members of Congress...
You're welcoming white South Afrikaners into the country as refugees when you've closed off that door to a lot of other refugees from other parts of the world. What message does that send to those who say it isn't? Why is that fair?
Well, I think if I see people in distress, I don't care what color, what they look like, what anything, their size, their height, their eyes, I don't care. But I think that from all evidence, the farmers in South Africa are being treated brutally.
Really, Donald? It has nothing to do with them being white. It has nothing to do with their connection, your connection to Elon Musk. All those things are just separate. We're making that up. We're crazy. We have Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, I bet. No. Of course this is a lie. Of course they're lying. And it was that lie that Kristi Noem's DHS spokesperson got called out for on CNN. She completely melted down when she did. Take a look.
Despite the president's repeated reference, can we just start this conversation by agreeing that Afrikaners are not facing genocide?
Absolutely not. First of all, I have to correct the facts, Victor. You said that no refugees were let in. Under President Donald Trump, since January 20th, 8,666 individuals have been granted asylum. Those people have faced persecution for their politics, persecution for the color of their skin, their religion, and that includes those 59 Afrikaners who came in this country last week who have faced racial violence at the hand of their own government. They've had their land seized because of the color of their skin. There's been over 140 laws enacted that are race-based and to discriminate against racial minorities. So I got to correct the facts where you're wrong, Victor, and you're wrong.
So, several things. President Ramaphosa says that although the law was signed in January that would give the government the purview to take the land, no land has been taken from Afrikaners. Also, that's President Ramaphosa. He'll be at the White House this week. Take it up with him. Also, the definition of genocide is aimed at extermination, right? And so although there is violence in South Africa, there's violence against Black South Africans too. So when the president says that there is genocide, where is the evidence? The U.S. has not recognized officially genocide. The United Nations has not recognized genocide. And for the thousands of people who you say were let into this country who've been granted asylum, absolutely. I'm talking under the refugee resettlement program, which the president froze by executive order early in his administration.
Victor, can we take a pause and
sure.
recognize the fact that you are defending race-based discrimination? You are defending race-based violence.
I'm not defending race-based discrimination in any way. The president uses the term genocide There is no genocide in South Africa, and frankly, it does a disservice to people in countries around the world who are facing genocide in the Congo, in Sudan, those who faced it in Rwanda and Bosnia and Cambodia. So when the president says that there's genocide in South Africa, it does not exist. We should probably just start with that truth.
Okay, if you're going to allow me on your program, I'd like to speak.
You're welcome to.
we have granted asylum to 8,666 individuals since January 20th, regardless of color or creed. It is quite frankly disturbing to me that members of the media, including people who are on this very network, are trying to whitewash the facts and whitewash the fact that these individuals have faced discrimination, racial violence, the seizure of their land based on nothing but their skin color alone. This is the United States of America, a land of opportunity, and we will help those who are facing persecution from the government of South Africa.
So, you clearly are not going to acknowledge there's no genocide in South Africa. What about the genocide in the Congo? Will there be this expedited path available to the Congolese and to the Sudanese who are facing actual genocide?
Again, Victor, 8,666 individuals have been granted asylum.
You have a specific number on asylum. How many of those are from the Congo or from the Sudan?
I'm happy to come back next week and lay out all the single facts, but the fact that you have not addressed the fact that we have helped these individuals who are facing persecution, and you seem to want to whitewash the fact that South Afrikaners are facing persecution, and I can't understand why, and I think a lot of Americans can't understand why, and it's left to believe that it's because of the color of their skin, Victor.
So you suggest that I am the one here who is focused on color of skin when the president has let in Afrikaners specifically, and I'm asking how many of those who are actually facing genocide, who are from the Sudan and who are from Congo, who are being let in under some expedited path that the president has created for Afrikaners?
I don't know how many times I have to repeat this fact. 8,666 individuals have, if you will let me speak, have faced persecution.
You've repeated the number. You haven't answered the question.
I'm exactly answering the question. Regardless of color or creed, we will allow you into this country if you are facing persecution and you go through the proper vetting. You can be from the Congo, you can be from Rwanda. We are letting those in who are facing persecution, Victor.
I'll look for those numbers.
This administration solely exists to hurt people. The cruelty is so often the point, and they're trying to make a mockery every single day of the disgraceful and illegal immigration agenda being carried out by Donald Trump's administration. The gross way that his mass thugs at the direction of cosplaying Ice Barbie Kristi Noem are tracking people down. It is gross. And that is why we saw Robert Garcia and so many others call her out. And he did again in this clip right here.
She could not answer a basic question, which we all know is that photo was doctored. And Congressman Swalwell, and I was in that room, did a great job of laying that out. She has no interest but to be cruel against people, against children, against U.S. citizens who are being deported, against asylum seekers who are coming to our country after we give them asylum appointments and then are being kidnapped to foreign prisons in El Salvador. What's happening in our country should alarm every American. And everyone should be able to watch that clip and see that we have an unqualified, unserious person as the director of Homeland Security. And as secretary, she should step down.
Ana Abrego Garcia, the judge overseeing that case, called it, quote, an exercise in utter frustration, getting information from the government. As U.S. attorney said, state secrets, quote unquote, stopped them from sharing more on Garcia's status. What can they be withholding, Congressman, that isn't already publicly known?
Look, I think we're not sure exactly. What we do know is that nothing that has been put forward in court, nothing that has been put out in the public sphere has changed this case in any way. This is a 9-0 Supreme Court case now that lower courts have affirmed multiple times, 9-0, that has said that Kilmar Abrego Garcia should be returned back to the United States. In light of, we know that the administration has also said that they sent him there on accident. I mean, how can the Trump administration say we sent this person on accident, and then not basically adhere to a Supreme Court case that's unanimous. And so this is a massive constitutional issue that we're in right now. It's a crisis because we have a president defying a Supreme Court and now additional courts that are also now weighing in. This issue is not about Abrego Garcia, what he did, what he didn't do, and he was here. It's about following the order of the Supreme Court. People in this country are losing due process. United States citizens are losing due process. Students who are protesting their First Amendment rights are losing due process. And they are coming for you next. They're coming for Americans that are here, that are just trying to live their lives. The Trump administration is targeting people they don't agree with. Maybe they don't like your tattoo. Maybe they don't like your political party. Maybe they don't like that you're serving in Congress. But they are actively targeting folks, and we've got to speak loudly against these policies.
I have one more for you here, because there's a potential game show for U.S. citizenship. A producer says he pitched it to the Obama and Biden administrations. Nothing happened. He says no undocumented immigrants would be featured and no one would be removed from the U.S. as a result of the show, though. Can he guarantee this DHS would abide by that? But anyway, DHS says the show is not currently in development. What does a pitch like this even speak to? I mean, given the real tests, the requirements for the privilege of becoming a U.S. citizen, and given Trump's successful turn as a reality TV star, do you think that makes the prospect of a show like this more likely?
Oh, I'm sure Donald Trump and Kristi Noem would love to see a reality show like this, and it's just sick. I am an immigrant. I became a U.S. citizen in my 20s. It is a hard process. It is a process that I'm proud of. Immigrants love this country. Raising my hand to take an oath to this country was the greatest day of my life, and I've done everything I can to give back to this country. All the country has given for me and my family, we try to give back in return. We work hard. And this idea that we're at today a point where families like mine, immigrants who have come here to work, to contribute, are essentially having the door shut, are being taken without due process. It's really un-American and not who we are as a country. So I hope that as we move forward, we understand that we must oppose Donald Trump and these policies forcefully, and that we must remember that this country was largely built by immigrants. And if you're not an immigrant, your parent, your grandparent, we're a country of immigrants, and it's really sad to see what's happened.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. What's the cabinet ranking worst to, like, still bad? I think Kristi Noem might be at the top of that lately. She is not only destroying her department and is completely inept, but of all the just like Trump bootlickers, I really think she goes out of her way the most. Not a fan. I think that's a pretty easy statement to make. That's why we're going to keep calling her out on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.